Good evening, Speed Gaming. And for some of you, it may already be the new year if you're out there in Europe. And so happy New Year to all of you. Happy almost New Year to the rest of you. We have another Link to the Past league match here between Hitaka and JP. Shack Tools Digging Game versus WJPDTB. Should be a good one. My name is Tracy, and with me today is Cool Papa Bell. How are you doing, Papa?
I am doing good. Excited to watch some rando tonight. And yeah, this is the second game to be played in this matchup between WJP DTB and Shack Tools Digging Game. It will be the game one settings though, since this is the sort of players who were lined up for game one. So this is just a 7-7 open defeat Ganon seed.
Yeah, pretty much as normal gets when it comes to Link to the Past Randomizer. And we see them starting. Hitaka starting at Link's house, getting 300 rupees right off the bat. We'll get JP caught up in just a second, and we'll get some sync going on as soon as he does. He decides to start Sanctuary and get some bombs, which is really nice. Little bit better for Hitaka. He'll probably go to Sanctuary shortly after this, and he'll get those bombs as well. JP won't have that money quite yet, but he will get it eventually. And usually it's rare that you get through Kakarot without at least enough money to do the bottle vendor.
JP also gave us a fast crystal check there. We've got 3 crystals in the light world with a red crystal up on Tower of Hera.
Yeah, and nice Moon Pearl there in the Uncle start. JP, we don't know when he'll go back for it, but he will eventually have to go back for that. Not going to do Hitaka much good now, other than knowing that he has it. But that glove, that's a nice find.
Yeah, that's about the most you can ask for out of that Uncle start. Just getting 2/3 of your Dark World access right off the bat.
The only thing you might want more is a weapon, so you can actually just do the escape right then and there. Hitaka finding those bombs, having that glove, he might just do back of escape right now. But not going to do it quite yet. The question will be, when will JP get to that? He will, of course, eventually get to that. With it being Glove and Moon Pearl, it might be fairly late, because a lot of times you want to save those. If you think it might be an Aga Seed, you might want to save those plays till later so you can pair them in. But he's not going to get sucked into Aga based on that, unless that Glove is the only thing available and it isn't actually an Aga Seed.
That's also going to depend on when we find a weapon of how back to escape. But yeah, that flute in
flute is nice. Yeah, getting that flute before you go into Kakariko, or while you're in Kakariko, so you can activate it right away. Super, super nice for the runners. As you can see, JP already at 76 rupees. Should not have a problem with the bottle vendor. Getting pretty close in money.
10 arrows there on the Lumberjack ledge.
Well, we're definitely not killing Aga for the item then. Now let's see what's in the well. Piece of heart. And I think JP skipped that piece of heart that Hitaka picked up. Blue mail, always a nice luxury item. More piece of heart. Another piece of heart. And a sword. And that's that last piece of heart confirming that JP did not pick up the one in the forest, and said that would have given him 4. And JP at 96 rupees is going to hop back in to get one more blue 5 there under the pot, so he can go ahead and pay off the bottle vendor right now.
Yeah, checks like that you normally get to do right away, I think it's worth going a little bit out of your way to make sure you get, so that you don't forget that you haven't done it, as would be so easy to do, and gets the lamp there off of the bottle merchant.
Yeah, that could be important. We have a sword and a lamp, and yeah, that Aga certainly going to be weighing on JP's mind, especially not having that glove yet. Also could be a required fire source. You know, we joke about not needing the lamp because of the dark rooms, but it's not just about the dark rooms. It's also about having that fire source that could be logically required and could gate the fire rod, so could be needed.
Yeah, early glove and fire source might be pointing us toward Desert Palace. We've also got access to Death Mountain in a couple of ways, although not much to do up there just yet.
Yeah, and in fact, speaking of desert, I mean, if we find another glove, that gives us access to desert. Oh, sorry, we need a mirror for that first. A mirror and another glove, but otherwise we just need a book. It looks like JP having already found the value. Gonna leave. Not much else left to check. We'll see what's in the library. 20 rupees that we're never coming back for. JP gonna go ahead and scout out the race game item. Probably gonna flute away. Sees a bottle, decides to leave it. Bottle, one of those items that's kind of hard to justify going back in for, but if you blind check it, you probably do pick it up.
Yeah, that's a tough decision since it would give him the option of checking Sick Kid right away.
Yep.
I feel like I would have gone back for that bottle, but I might play too thoroughly, so...
Yeah, it's a matter of when are you going to get another bottle? Is Sick Kid going to have anything? The one plus here for checking it now is you do have the flute to get back there quicker than usual. Bombo's sitting there in the flooded area. Bombo said one of those medallions, never know for sure whether you're going to need it or not, but if you're going to get one, that's a good one to get because it helps you out in Ice Palace as well. Always nice to have that sword in Mini Moldorm. With only 2 bombs, he's going to want to use the sword and save at least one of those bombs, assuming he's going to go to Ice Rod Cave. Okay, Mini Moldorm has a piece of heart, a heart container, another piece of heart, bombs, and a piece of heart. That was a pretty healthy, but not very useful Mini Moldorm cave. We'll see if Hitaka also decides to leave that bottle. I think it looks like he may be going for it. Yeah, he's going to go get it. If this is something, it could be pretty big. If it's not, it's going to be a time sink for Hitaka.
And healthy but not very useful is sort of the story of this whole seed so far.
Okay, Ice Rod Cave has for us heart container. Yeah, Hitaka's going to take that. If you're going to get that bottle, you need to turn that in right away, and quickest way to do it is to flute. JP going to finally go back to his house and pick up those 300 rupees. And unfortunately for Hitaka, just bombs with the Sick Kid.
Yeah, this is where JP is going to gain back a little bit of time because he will likely head straight into the front of escape while he is here, whereas Hitaka will have to make another trip back if he ever wants to check that out.
First look, looks like Hitaka's going to do the South Shore checks first. So JP's going to get that Moon Pro fairly shortly.
So counting down what we still have left in Logic, of course, the whole eastern area, and then a couple of sort of one-off checks. There's 2 checks up on the mountain, and Zora in Logic with the glove. Yep, and did I say Agina's Cave?
You didn't, but it's the one that no one wants to go to.
Yeah, made a little bit easier with flute, but...
Yeah, it's a lot easier with flute, but yeah, I mean, still, no one wants to go there. It's not, the runners generally would prefer to do Agina's Cave at a point in time when they can just not worry about it. You know, when they can do other things at the same time, you know, so not worry about it being the only thing you're getting there. You know, a book or usually a book, to be honest. Hitaka going to get all his health in the mini Moldorm cave. I see a statement that Eastern Saha must be loaded, but not necessarily. Really, we're missing one piece for Dark World. Either a sword or a cape in order to do Aga, or a hammer or a glove in order to just access Dark World straight out. Hitaka opening that cave says he might do an early Zora check. I'm not sure I like this. There's a lot of farming you'd have to do there if that's what his plan is. Okay, no, he's just not doing that.
Yeah, if you find that 100 rupees in there and you're only 40 away from Zora money, then I'd think about it, but...
Yeah. Once you have to do more than a couple farms, it's probably not worth it. Looks like Hitaka's going to go back of Escape. And we'll see if there's anything in the front of Escape. We haven't seen anything so far, just a map, and I want to say arrows, and the last one being bombs. So Hitaka can save time if he never goes to the front. JP not going to do Dark Cross, it looks like. I like that call because you don't, right now, for all he knows, it could be a key. It's not going to be a key because we just found that out. Hitaka getting a mirror, though. Looks like he's going to go ahead and do Dark Cross.
Mirror
he doesn't know it's a map. It's not a map, but we know it's not a map, so.
Yeah, Mirror opens up some more possibilities on Death Mountain now, since we can get on top of Spectacle Rock and up to Tower of Hera.
It gives us a full clearable dungeon, and I suspect both of them are going to do that fairly soon.
Yeah, we'll see if either of them does that immediately, or if they go check out Saha's closet at the very least first. Ooh.
Oh, baby.
Tape is maybe not what we wanted to find there.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay, the first one to save and quit. I gotta assume that he's gonna go to the mountain right now. Do Tower of Hera. He hopes he finds a hammer. A glove would be okay as well, because then at least you can get into the Dark World without doing Aga. A hookshot would also be a good thing. Could get him to East Death Mountain. But it is the old, it is a dungeon that we can full clear, and it is a crystal dungeon that runners can full clear, so a big fan of doing that.
Yeah, it looks like both of our runners are as well. Particularly once you have that mirror, you sort of start thinking about, do I want to go to Eastern now, or can I wait and combo that with Pod?
Mm-hmm, yep. Another heart container. Definitely not lacking in heart containers. Yeah, and chat making a good point. Even if you did do Aga, really the only thing you could pick up right now is the item on the pyramid ledge and the first item in Pod. Possibly more in Pod if that's the key, but not a whole lot available on the Aga play, so I can't see either one of them rushing it at this point.
Just a heart piece on top of Spectacle Rock, and 10 arrows inside.
Yeah, definitely not picking up the 10 arrows. Might pick up the heart piece just because it's, right there. Depends on how hard the runners really want to go out of their way to make sure they don't pick it up. And it's Pendant Pod. Oh boy. Pendant Pod, Pendant Turtle Rock, and Pendant Ice.
And our second red crystal on Thieves Town, so the big bomb is going to be available pretty early in this seed.
Yeah, very early. Once they have Dark World access, they'll have access to Thieves Town. Well, unless it's Aga, no hookshot. But okay, nice to see the big key in the basement here, because we don't have a hookshot to do Harapot. Hopefully both items will be found without going into the basement, into the other part of the basement. But that compass does not bode well for that. Yeah, JP just following a few rooms behind. And we see a small key, which is never what you want to find in Hera. Get a shield. So a 50-50 chance that the second item's in the basement. And I imagine both runners would go after it, seeing as how they do have that lamp to get it. And that they're starting to run out of locations. And if the answer is there, you don't want to have to come back here after clearing Eastern.
Yeah, the Hera basement is an annoying check, but it's even more annoying to have to come back for it later, so... Nice
Hitaka with all that magic, one more shot left. Putting on that cape's not going to lose you any time. So, and of course it's the map. I mean, what else would it be? Hitaka already selected the lamp. I think he's going back in. Although he's not going to use it right away. He has to actually go through the tile room first.
And JP finishing Moldorm off with a spin there. Very nice NMG style fights from both of our runners.
Yeah, in NMG, you don't get the option of hookshotting for Herapot. You don't get the option of using the hammer. You don't get the option of any other sword but that fighter sword, so yeah.
This is why Rando is so great. There's all these fun glitches that you don't get to use any other time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also fun to just, not even glitches so much, but just, the different loadouts that you might have for different situations. Sometimes better loadouts than what you would normally have in the regular game, and sometimes worse, but always interesting.
All right, both of our runners getting a quick coffee break there, and then we'll get this last item out of the basement of Hera.
I'd say JP's getting a little bit more of a coffee break than Hitaka did, since he did do the strat where you sit on the pegs. Unfortunately, just a container heart, not what either runner is looking for. So it's got to be Eastern then, or it's got to be Aga. If it is Aga, then JP's going to take a bit of a lead, because Hitaka is going to have to do front of escape before he goes into Aga. You don't skip the front of escape before going into Aga Tower.
Yeah, and I don't think you can skip Saha's Closet either.
No.
You might skip out on the Eastern Palace dip, so that'll be another decision point for our runners here. We've also got Agina, which JP is going to go ahead and check out right now. JP might also go back for that bottle on Race Game.
Right, yeah, he hasn't done that yet. I totally forgot about that. Chat pointing out also Agina and Zora. Of course, JP doing Agina right now. Zora, both runners relatively close to the money. One reason you might choose to go into Eastern Palace, which Hitaka's not doing right now, you do have that rupee room that could get you to where you need to be for that Zora play. Also going to point out, with the flute, having already done Saha, Hitaka going to be able to get back to Eastern very easily with the flute plus the gloves. Yeah, this is a tough one, though. I personally tend to like to rush Aga in a lot of situations like this, but the problem being, as we said before, not a whole lot to do once we get there.
Yeah.
Still don't have hookshot to get across, no bow to do anything in pod, but the first item. at least guaranteed the first item, and Hitaka's just gonna go for it.
Yeah, and there's also a question here of like, do you route optimistically or pessimistically? Because I feel like in Hitaka's shoes, I might have checked Agina's cave first,
He checked
like
Agina.
JP did, and then like, oh, when you're making the decision about whether to dip Eastern or not, you have a bit more information about the other one-off
I see what you're
world
saying.
checks. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes both ways since JP didn't check the sick kid.
Yeah, that's
Hitaka
very
has.
true.
So basically what we have left is the stuff in Eastern and Zora that could bail us out of Aga. And, in this exact situation, it's pretty even money as to which is the answer. Not unusual to find that hammer or that other glove in Eastern Palace or at Zora. But also not unusual to find that just nothing in those locations.
I kind of agree with you on the Aga rush in this case, though, because that cape is just so fishy to get this early in a seed.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the only thing that would be holding me back from the Aga play right now, if it were me, and I honestly don't know which one I would have done, really is no hook shot, no bow. Give me a hook shot and a bow, and I'm headed to Aga. just without question. Yeah, so far, JP not finding anything in Eastern, but he still has a couple more checks. Of course, if I had a bow, I'd clear Eastern first, because, I mean, you can. And we see 2 items in Eastern, so it's going to be potentially one more that JP can get. And it's red mail. Or maybe we haven't seen. Maybe that was the second item. This is where I wish quick swap wasn't a thing, because then he could menu. I could see if he has map compass.
Yeah,
he does the map there, so.
Yeah, but routing like here's another item here at the
you're right.
location.
Yeah, there's one more item because two more locations, and we just saw the map. So, and we saw 2 items for sure. Now,
the other thing about rushing Aga is that if you can head up to Catfish and then just mirror to Zora from there. So if you can still sort of hedge your bets on if Zora actually has your Dark World access.
You would have to fake Flipper if you want to do any of the sequence breaks there. But yeah, you can definitely check the Zora item itself. Okay, one more check for JP. What do we got? The compass. So Armos Knights has the other item, and we can't get it. So does JP go do Zora, or does he go do Aga? Oh, he's gonna get the bottle from Sick Kid. Okay. Honestly, I like that he's doing this. I don't know. I mean, at some point you just gotta take your chances, I guess. Which is what Hitaka's doing. But I would have, with him at 462 rupees, I might have liked him to see him go all the way to the Eastern Rupee Room just to get enough rupees to go ahead and do that Zora play. Now, Hitaka, yeah, you talk about him mirroring over to Zora. He's not going to have the money for it unless he does it in pod. Unless he gets the money in pod, which, they do have that red bottle. And that might be one of the reasons why JP's picking it up. He knows it's a potion, and so he can sequence break some of pod. Of course, it is a pendant pod, so...
Yeah, this is also worth noting with the red boomerang. That's a pretty easy splash delete setup, so they will be able to get into Waterfall Cave when they're in that part of the world.
If they know the setup, I don't know for sure that either one of these guys knows that setup. It wouldn't surprise me either way. Oh, JP looks like he's gonna go farm here, which is fine. I think it would have been faster to the Eastern Rupee Room, but it's something you don't always think about.
Yeah, and he is definitely committed to full clearing the light world before he goes to Aga, so we will see if he picks up time there.
Yeah, the interesting part about this, the amount of time he's taking is about the amount of time Hitaka's taking to do Aga. Now, JP's going to gain some of that time back, because when Hitaka goes and does Eastern, he's going to clear Eastern. It's not likely he's going to be able to go mode it, but it does mean that if this isn't the answer, then JP is going to be pretty far behind. And if it is the answer, Hitaka's not going to be as far behind as you might think.
Yeah, he saved some time by doing Race Game and Sit Kid right off the bat. Let's see, and yeah,
we're gonna do the
Eastern
hobo.
dip is just going to be sort of lost time for JP for the most part.
Not a fan of the hobo check, not in logic. And it's slow. But if it pays off, this could be pretty big. And just some 100 rupees, which is kind of a kick in the teeth, because he just went out of his way to get those rupees, and now he just gets them from the hobo. Okay, are you gonna go Duzor, or are you gonna flute again, Duzor? Yeah, I especially don't like doing that. If you're not gonna do the fake flipper back out, but we'll know in a second what the right answer is.
Yeah, I think it's definitely faster to just fake flipper back out to that little pond up there and flute away.
Okay, I didn't see what was on the ledge. I'm not sure Hitaka did either. Let's find out. Just 10 arrows. The pyramid ledge, not the answer. An ice rod and a piece of heart. Well, the ice rod's important. No, it's not. We have 10 in Turtle Rock. We hope we don't need that.
That unlocks one whole item like 45 minutes from now. That could be super.
Yeah, well, it could be 2 items. It could unlock 10.
True.
Chat would love that. I'm not sure our runners would love that.
Oh. All right, moment of truth for JP coming up to see what Zora has for us.
Just 20. So, unless we're forgetting something, looks like Aga's required. So that's a lot of time that JP lost doing all those other checks. It's just one of those things. You get some runners that they're just going to do everything they can to avoid Aga, and that can be the right call. And you have other runners, they're just going to, hedge their bets and say, this is where I'm drawing the line. I'm going to do it. And if it's the wrong decision, it's the wrong decision. And, rando be rando. It's sometimes, each one comes up. Each one happens. And we do not have a bow-locked pod. At least not immediately.
And again, some of that time is time that JP can reasonably expect to get back. I mean, you would not be surprised to see Hitaka find flippers in a little bit here and have to do all those checks as well. Yep. But definitely an advantage early on for Hitaka, to be sure.
Yeah, flippers are going to be required. We do have to do Swamp Palace. Okay, still not bow locked.
Interesting. So Hitaka not choosing to go ahead and potion glitch the right side. Looks like he's sticking closely to the key logic here.
Yeah, I think that's a good call in this situation. I could see him, if he doesn't get all the items, which is a good chance he won't, going ahead and doing that later. It is a pendant dungeon after all. Okay, still not bow locked. And to answer the question, yeah, if this were bow locked, it would be catfish. That would be all we'd have. Yeah, Hitaka realizing he's already done that chest. Looks like he's going to potion glitch the right side now. And this area was a big part of yesterday's match. Where DT found his flippers here, and Asi left without them. And So not going to leave that behind here from on Hitaka's side. Now this could be just a small key and a big key, but there'll be at least, I think we need at least one more small key.
Yeah, guaranteed one small key at least over here.
And a worthless set of bombs. Meanwhile, I didn't point this out from Hitaka's standpoint, but both runners using the bombos to great effect in what is a really bad Aga Tower in terms of loadout.
Yeah, it's not too often that Rando puts you in a situation that's worse than NMG.
I know, right?
Spider Sword and no bow is real bad.
Yeah, I've done the Gold Sword Aga Tower. That's actually kind of fun. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Hitaka decides to... Well, he can't finish out the dungeon. I was about to... Unless we find hammer and bow.
You know, stranger things have happened than that.
If he did find the bow, you'd probably see him do Eastern, though. A little surprised to see him do Harmless Hellade now, instead of waiting to find out if that's a key. If he'd finished the basement, the rupee basement with 2 keys, he would have known that was a key. And he is going to collect the rupees so he can do Zoro when the time comes. And we see a pair of mitts there. That's what the seed wanted us to find.
Quick side note here. JP's actually really lucky that there was 100 rupees on the hobo, or else he would be hurting for pod money right now.
You are absolutely right. I didn't even think about that. I guess if that were the case, you have to do catfish first and hope to find a place to farm up.
Yet another reason why he maybe should have gone ahead and done the Eastern Rupee basement. I think there's 90 in there.
I believe it's 90. That would have been a really good pickup there. There's the big key in a really crappy spot. My guess is that the game wanted us to find those mitts. Yeah, and Hitaka realizing if he saves and quits, since he has the mirror and he's killed Aga, he'll go straight to the pyramid. And it looks like he's just going to take those mitts and go over to the Dark World over at Village Outcast. He does have a Thieves' Town he can do. Might not be able to full clear it. Depends on whether there's an item in the big chest or not. That's always a tricky part of this play. My guess, JP is probably going to do the same thing Hitaka did. With this pod key layout, he can get everything without going to the right side. He does have that potion. I suspect he'll potion glitch, though. Which, you know, if he didn't do that, it'd be a bit of a time save, since we saw bombs in the last small key there. But, you know, if you're going to be there, I don't blame him for being thorough. Hitaka going to check Skullwoods before he heads over to Thieves' Town. Maybe hoping to score a hammer here or something. But that compass is not a hammer.
Yeah, Front of Skull Woods is one of those checks that always bites me. I never check it when I'm supposed to, and then always check it and find nothing.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm really good at last locationing stuff, so...
Nice use of the red boomerang there to stun the Gibdos and make this room a whole lot easier.
The Gibdo's a weird enemy. They're the only one that I know of, and I'm sure Chad will correct me if there are others, that the boomerang stuns, but the hookshot does not.
And also, they take no damage from regular arrows, but a silver arrow will kill one in one shot.
Yeah. There are a few other enemies that do that, but yeah, it's you know, if you have those silver arrows for the Gibdos, it's a very nice item to have there. Yeah, chat pointing out that there are some enemies that are killed by the boomerang. Sorry, killed by the hookshot that are stunned by the boomerang.
Hey,
there's that hookshot. Speaking of which, that is a nice find for Hitaka. It's definitely something that that JP will get at some point. Whether he'll go straight into Skullwoods after Pod, or whether he'll do Thieves Town first, or if he'll do a trip over to Catfish, I don't know. Those are all options he has, and those might have good items.
Yeah, Hitaka definitely making all the right choices here, going to Aga relatively early and checking out Skull Woods. Oh, not going over to Bumper Ledge, though, with that cape.
Yeah, he might do that after the Village of Outcast play. Or it's pretty easy to get back there once he's done this area. Probably will take this over to Hype Cave. Might even grab... he could actually do a large part of the Smith chain right now. Can't do hammer pegs, of course, but... yeah, and JP does do the right side. Yeah, I don't blame him. Unfortunately, he could have saved some time if he didn't do it, but you know, it's not a bad play. You hope to find something there, because at some point you are going to have a bow. You have to get a bow at some point, because you got to do Eastern.
I think JP did at least save himself checking that vanilla big key chest, because he can now deduce that that has to be another small key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a small key, and yeah, that will be a little bit of a time save over Hitaka. He did end up checking that big key chest. And if JP does the Rupee Basement before doing the Harmless Hellway, he'll be able to avoid a check there too.
Hitaka being very thorough here in North Dark World. Going to go ahead and check out Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, I think he's doing his best to find a hammer before he goes into Thieves Town. Always a little bit scary when you might be leaving that hammer or that big chest in Thieves Town. The other nice thing about doing Graveyard Ledge now is that when you get boots, you can just do the boots checks without worrying about pairing in Graveyard Ledge with it. You've already done it. But Hitaka can take that hook shot and go over to the mountain. A lot of checks here, because we do have the mitts, so we can go ahead and do the Dark Death Mountain spots as well.
Interesting. So it feels like Hitaka sort of got close to Thieves Town, and then, like you said, thought better of heading in there without the hammer when that hookshot opened up so much for him up on Death Mountain.
Again, what he's looking for most is that hammer. I mean, there are other things that would be nice to have for Thieves Town. Boots would be a really nice thing to have for Thieves Town.
And we'll see how JP decides to route his first Dark World trip.
Naburna. We already had Spike Cave, so that doesn't really do much for us. Powder.
Another annoying time to find that particular fetch quest.
Yeah, the powder is a terrible one to have for when you don't have that hammer.
Because that is in logic with the mirror, but you sort of lose access to your Dark World portal if you do that.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Very frustrating.
And JP's going to be happy he went ahead and did Skullwoods first here, because he will get those. He will get that hook shot. And flippers in Super Bunny Cave, and a whole lot of money. So when Hitaka decides to do Zora, he'll have plenty of money for it. In fact, he could route it in with Catfish later on. You can do the whole Zora area with Catfish. We're gonna find out the medallion for Turtle Rock. We hope it's not. It is Bombos. Fortunately, can't go in there yet. No Canis Samaria. And I can't imagine going in there right now when there's dungeons that we can full clear. In fact, mirror, flippers, and hookshot does allow us Swamp Palace.
Well, still need that hammer to full clear Swamp
Still need
Palace.
that, yeah, that hammer. That hammer always messes with me.
Seen JP having that same thought. Got a hookshot. I'm going straight to Death Mountain.
Yeah, looks like he's going to skip the other checks that Hitaka did, though. Not going to do Graveyard Ledge.
Oh, there we go.
And there's the hammer. Well, now we can do Swamp Palace. So that's the payoff. They will both now, I assume JP will do the same. We'll do all these same checks, and we'll get his hammer. And yeah, so we'll be able to do Thieves Town, not have to worry about leaving an item behind.
Yeah, we've got, 3 crystals that we can for sure finish off now.
Yep.
Kane to be able to finish Meyer, and maybe it's Medallion for entry as well. And Fire Rod for Skull Woods, and then Bow for Eastern.
Yep. Yeah, Desert, the other one we can get to with that mirror. And a nice Master Sword sitting there in the Spiral Cave. So, only thing Hitaka didn't check was Spike Cave. Spike Cave is just really hard to route in the way he did all this. And if you're going to choose between the two, I'm a big fan of choosing the Spiral Cave. Just because Spike Cave is much, much easier to get back to.
Yeah, Spike Cave is kind of like Ice Rod Cave. If you have the flute, you're always close to it in some sense. So,
yep.
Or at least as close to it as ever.
Yep. So now one of the nice things here, Hitaka can do all of Thieves Town. He can finish clearing Village of Outcasts. He can do all the Smiths, drag that purple chest if he wants to. He can do the powder. Same thing for JP when he gets here.
Yeah, JP found another little corner to cut. You know, he did not do Graveyard Ledge. If he decides to skip that when he goes back to Village of Outcasts after finding his hammer and flippers here, might save a few more seconds.
Yeah, he needs some of those. He needs to cut some of those corners because it was Hitaka that cut all the corners to go straight into Aga, and JP that decided to do everything beforehand. So he's probably feeling a bit behind, and he'd be right. So he needs to do something to make up that time. But a lot of game left to be played. Tempered Sword, nice. I personally think Tempered Sword in Thieves Town is a little bit underrated, because now you can just one-shot everything. Like, you know, the talk is always, well, with the blind fight, it doesn't matter what sword you have, it's all the same. But the rest of the dungeon, I think, just becomes easier when you're not worrying about having to, the red Zazax hitting him twice or 3 times the fighter sword.
Yeah, same thing as in those later rooms of the Gauntlet in GT, right? It's just like the difference between Tempered and Master is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, looks like JP also going to go ahead and get his Master Sword. And probably also going to leave that Spike Cave behind. And we should take one correction. We said the Desert Palace was full clearable. We don't know. We won't know until we get in there. It might yet be boots locked.
So yeah, I think we're going to see both of our runners on pretty much the same line here, just working their way through this Dark World loop. Then about a Hype Cave is probably where the next real decision will be. Oh, JP is actually going to head straight to Hype Cave.
Yeah, why not? There's 5 items right there for you. Now, nothing in here is going to make his Thieves Town better, but if he finds a Fire Rod, he could also do Skull Woods at that time.
I think JP is just going to do Hype straight into Swamp Palace now, and hope that gives him Fire Rod before he goes back into the Village of Outcasts area.
Yeah, that's not a bad call either. And Hype Cave, a whole lot of nothing.
Because I believe that mirror has not even really been required for anything yet, right? It didn't
Not
lead
yet.
anywhere in Tower of Hera.
Just the crystal, but really we could have done that after. With the other goodies, so the mirror by itself was not required for it. Now it looks like the small key is sitting there locked in the big chest, so we never had to worry about that hammer. But it's always nice not to have to think about it when you walk in the dungeon. Also keep in mind that this is the other 5-6 crystal, so Hitaka probably does a route that gets the smiths and gets all the South Dark World checks, and then does Pyramid Ferry, and then probably goes into Swamp Palace as well. Or maybe does Swamp Palace before the Pyramid Ferry.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Pyramid Ferry is so low cost at this point, having already Aga, that he might be more inclined to do that fast.
But he's got a really nice, clean path to get over to where JP is right now. JP, you know, with the flute, and not much different to do it the other way. The only real difference is, and actually it's a difference for both of them. Swamp Palace is just really a better go mode dungeon, so just on the off chance that Hitaka gets what he needs before he gets there.
Yeah, I do like, though, that JP is really thinking through his routing here. I mean, it's so easy to get into autopilot and say, okay, I checked Skullwoods, now I do Thieves Town, right? I mean, when you can get back there so quickly with Flute and Mitts, yeah, you shouldn't really feel locked into those patterns.
Yeah, and if, you know, it's one of those things where if Swamp has good stuff, then JP maybe avoids some Overworld. If Overworld that Hitaka's probably going to check all on this route over to Swamp Palace, maybe he could still avoid some of Swamp. Or maybe the answer lies elsewhere, and neither one gets to avoid the other. That's just randomizer. Now, both are good choices. Well, that was quick. Hitaka says, I want no part of that 50 rupees.
Yeah, Link just wanted to bother the shovel guy, apparently.
Yeah. Okay, looks like JP is going to do the left side first. You see this a lot more now with Diver Down than you used to. I'm one of the few people that's gone on record as saying that I don't think this is as great a play as everybody else seems to. It certainly is faster to do it now than to do it later, but maybe you don't have to do it at all. You know? Like, it's kind of gotten to the point where everyone's like, oh, how dare you skip left side swamp? And I'm like, you know, JP doing it this early, if it's nothing, that's a big waste of time. And even if you do it the fast way like this.
Yeah, and I don't actually remember if he found either map or compass early on. Again, with quick swap, no one pauses anymore.
Yeah. It looks like he didn't set up the bomb to do it. He's going to do the Diver Down, though.
Well, no, he actually...
Oh, no, I take it back. He grabbed the key. Okay,
he's just...
okay, yeah, that really surprises me. Only because, you know, I talked about this being a common play, doing left side first in with the new Diver Down strats. You didn't see left side first nearly as often. Looks like the Smith didn't have anything.
Yeah, and it really is the fact that you can save a few seconds by doing Diver Down that makes it more appealing to
exactly
off the bat. So
yeah, why the meta's basically changed on it.
I mean, maybe JP is just not as comfortable with the bomb setup and relies on to do Diver Down.
Yeah, that could be too. And does find 2 items, so he might have gotten sucked back in anyway, but we didn't get anything good.
Yeah, you feel really bad when you do left side right off the bat and find the map and compass over there and realize you could have totally skipped it.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst. Like, I refuse to ever do left side in any situation if I don't have a map and a compass, and if I don't have either map or compass. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of it in general, but there are definitely times when it's the right thing to do, especially like in a Key Sandy scene. Of course, Key Sandy map and compass don't come into play. Yeah, looks like he also doesn't do the bomb. Yeah, I think you're right about the bomb diver down. Doesn't do that. Oh, that's a cane. Okay, another piece of our. That actually gives Hitaka a Misery Mire right now if he wants it.
Yeah, plus,
depending on medallion. Yeah, let's keep in mind we only have a Bombos medallion.
yeah, plus those easy overworld items around Myers Shed and Checkerboard Cave, and then the desert, which is essentially a couple of overworld checks as well.
Yeah, so far Swamp not having the goods. Also, another advantage that Hitaka's going to have, he'll have that Tempered Sword for the Argus fight. Although, we still have a few spots left. Maybe there's a sword in Swamp is not unheard of. Bow in Swamp is nice. Now that'll be bigger for Hitaka than it is for JP. Hitaka having not done Eastern yet. I don't see JP rushing back to do Armos Knights right now. It's one item. He's got other better things to do, I think.
Yeah, but Hitaka might very well rush to full clear Eastern after finding that bow. So
he might.
Be an interesting effect on the routing here.
Looks like Hitaka's going to do Swamp House before he even goes into Hype Cave. That's a little unusual. I'm not sure I like that call. I miss what was on the purple chest, but since chat's not going nuts, I'm going to assume... that it was nothing. Now, if Hitaka skips Hype Cave, maybe he'll just forget it. There was nothing there. But...
It feels a little bit questionable to me because he's basically could be 2 items from Go mode at this point, right? If he finds
no, he shouldn't. He absolutely shouldn't skip Hype Cave from his point of view. We know it's nothing, but I will point out Hitaka is one of those few runners that doesn't use a tracker. So if he forgets that he hasn't gone there, he might just completely forget to go there. Yeah, little fun fact with the Shack Tools Digging Game team, we actually have 2 out of the 3 runners don't use trackers. Hitaka and Azure, 2 of the few runners that choose not to use trackers. I can only think of maybe Fred Coughlin, I believe also doesn't use a tracker. I'm sure there's a few others.
Yeah, I actually only use trackers for like entrance and key sanity. I'm just a grumpy old man, so.
Yeah, I need it for the map more than the items, but yeah. Definitely need it for entrance for sure.
People who do entrance without a tracker are insane.
Yes, they are.
Right, so JP, proving us wrong, by the way, is going to go back to Eastern. I guess he's just thinking that this is a crystal. He might as well get it done as soon as possible. I might be tempted to put this one off until I had boots, possibly, but...
Yeah, that's really the only thing that could benefit him to make this any better than what it already is. So yeah, a little surprised he does this now, but yeah, like you said, sometimes if you're not sure what to do next, do the thing you have to do regardless, and just then figure out the next play afterwards. Although I'm a little surprised. I still feel like I really expect him to go into Thieves Town right after this, and I'm surprised that changed. Let's see if Hitaka gets sucked over to the right. Yeah, unfortunately, Hitaka's not going to save time by skipping left side. Of course, he will find out there's 2 items, so...
Yeah, I think this would have been a pretty good spot for JP to just head straight up. Head to Stumpy, Cave 45, just sort of do the opposite direction around the Dark World there. Okay,
looks like Hitaka's going to set up for the diver down here. So if he gets this quickly, he'll save a little bit of time. And he does have the cane, so that'll make it a little bit easier for him. Of course, you have to actually clip into the rail and not keep swimming there. There we go. And of course, one of the reasons why this works is the only tile, both in that room and in the other diver down room, it's actually water, is that very first tile that you jump into. So if you can manage to land on any other tile, and that's what the clip does allow you to do, you're going to be walking on that water. It's kind of an interesting quirk of the game.
JP showing off the Armos quick kill there. Gets not much for his troubles, but another crystal.
Yep, he has to do it eventually anyway. So like we said, you know, and as you said, the only thing that could have really made it better is boots. The only other possibility would be, you know, wait long. Like, I can't imagine either one of them's ever going to go back into pod for Helmasaur unless it's a last location situation. So, you know, you're not really thinking in terms of like there's certain times where you want to save the pod Eastern dip for together, but we've already full cleared pod. I don't know if there's another item on Helmasaur, and no idea if pet is going to be a thing. At this point, let's see, what do we even have left? Medallions can always be on pet, of course. Fire Rod cannot be on pet because Turtle Rock, and boots can be there, but we don't know if we need them or not.
And I think I do like this play from JP. I mean, he's putting off Village of Outcasts. I'm okay with him putting it off a little bit longer, and just hoping that that's not the answer. We know K5 is going to be required for him at some point, so he will not be able to finish Misery Mire while he's here. We'll see if Desert Palace's boots lock.
Yeah, we did see that it was an Ether Medallion there. Desert is not at all boots locked. Hitaka gets his bow.
Now has that information about Ether on Mire, which could be pretty big.
Yeah, I suspect well, Hitaka will get that bow. He might go ahead and do Eastern first, just like JP did. But he probably, at some point, will also go over to the Misery Mire area. And you see with that Tempered Sword, Hitaka's going to have a slightly easier time with this fight. So yeah, boots could be in GT somewhere. We might not see them today. Right now we're just looking for that Fire Rod. And that Ether Medallion.
And JP is skipping the Desert Palace big chest for now. Once again, get the crystal first, since you know you have to do that, and hope that Landmower's holding the last item.
Yeah, I like that call. I'm a big fan of doing Landmo first and then checking the right side if you need to. Or I guess he did do the right side, but checking the big chest if you need to. Okay, Hitaka, where are we going? We're going to do Pyramid Fairy? We're going to do Hype Cave? Do you remember that you haven't done Hype Cave?
All the above, I think, is the answer.
Yeah, he remembers Hype Cave. Okay. Be really odd, like I said, really would be odd to skip this, but we know it's nothing. As Hitaka picks up his 14th container heart. Ooh, very nice work on the first two land moles there for JP with the ice rod, and finishes up the third one on the second round. If you've never tried to do ice rod land mo versus fire rod land mo, the timing is different. It is not the same, and it is I think much more difficult. So nice job on JP's side.
Yeah, especially because you're so used to the fire rod projectile speed, and then the ice rod just goes so much slower.
Yep. And the Fire Rod also has the added bonus of you can get the splash damage. You don't see it a whole lot in Landmo, but you can see it. Looks like he didn't get the other item, so he does have to go back and check the big chest.
Opening up the Pyramid Fairy here, this could be pretty much a game-winning move if the Fire Rod turns out to be here, since JP does not have a second red crystal from Thieves Town. But
no surprise, we got nothing. I mean, a blue boomerang's nice. Some people really prefer that blue boomerang, but you know, it's definitely not what we want. Okay, Hitaka can go over to Eastern Palace now. Not gonna get anything but a crystal out of it, and Checkerboard Cave just with 20 rupees. So we're getting down to Ice Palace and Turtle Rock as possibilities for that fire rod. And that Bombos opens up both of them. It would not be the first time we saw a fire rod behind the Bombos medallion in Ice Palace.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what other overworld we have left.
Catfish,
and some fetch quests that are floating around that we can't actually do yet unless we find like mushroom or book, something along those lines. Spike Cave, I guess, as well.
Spike Cave, yep, we do have Spike Cave.
Anything else.
Looks like JP finally gonna bow to the resignation that he does have to go ahead and do the Sound of Village Outcast, and we'll see if he does full clear the area. We'll at least get his Tempered Sword out of this. I don't believe Thieves Town had anything else for us. But unfortunately, we're now at one of those points when the runners are basically retracing each other's footsteps.
Yeah, and we should have a pretty good idea of exactly how our runners compare to each other in just a few minutes here, because you have to think Hitaka is headed to the Mire area after Eastern, and JP will probably head to Mire after he finds the Red Cane.
Well, he can't, because he doesn't have Ether.
Oh, that's right.
So we're 2 from go. We need that Ether Medallion, we need that Fire Rod. And yeah, we're kind of at the, do we go to, I guess I go to Ice Palace next. Ice Palace with the Icebreaker, so much quicker. And then if you still have to go to Turtle Rock, then it's still there. Turtle Rock without a Fire Rod, it can just gate you so quickly. So it's hard to justify going all the way up the mountain for what could be just one check and out.
Yeah, and Ice Palace is our green pendant as well, so really getting 4 items out of there instead of the usual 3.
Yep. Now, in the end, with 2 items from go, wouldn't surprise me if both are needed. Hitaka having a little bit of trouble with that D boost, but with red mail, it's a big who cares. And chat asking if they got all the items for Pod, and I don't know for sure if they got all the items, if there might be one left sitting on Helmasaur. But I can't imagine either one of them going back in for the Helmasaur item until everything else is basically done.
Yeah, I've definitely seen both runners last location an item on Pendant Helmasaur before this round of the league.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. And somebody in chat saying that Helma does indeed have something, so. The more interesting question is Hitaka going to do the Zora area? Is he going to do Catfish into the Zora area? It's a awfully long walk, but he does get 5 items that way. Only one of which we don't know.
Yeah, that's the downside of having done Graveyard Ledge before, is now there's nothing on the way to Catfish anymore.
Yep. Okay, Hitaka done with Eastern. Let's see what he does next.
So yeah, all that talking we were doing before about, oh, JP's doing Swamp first, maybe he'll be able to skip Thieves Town, and vice versa for Hitaka, and they're just gonna completely cross paths right now.
Yeah, well, Thieves Town a little bit, I mean, Thieves Town's such a bad go mode dungeon anyway, you know? Like, nobody go modes Thieves Town. Like, maybe you get to skip the big chest.
Yeah, the only time you go mode Thieves Town is in, like, cross keys or any
Yep.
key where the Thieves Town big key is your go mode, pretty much.
Yep. Or, you know, an Randomizer situation where you don't ever check the back. Oh, there's a shovel sitting in there that JP hasn't checked, but he will check it. He'll be able to route that in very nicely when he does does all these other checks that he's doing right now. Meanwhile, Hitaka is going to go ahead and do Desert Palace. I did not catch that JP had that shovel. I don't think I think not rushing it was the right call for him. He's just so easy to route in when he does Old Stumpy on his way down to the south, back to the rest of the South Darkwood checks that he hasn't done yet.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think JP is gonna come out of this a little bit ahead, because he's so close to getting that cane, and Hitaka still has to work his way back to Landmo and beat the boss in here. Although Hitaka does have, Pyramid Fairy checked.
Yep, he's got more checks overall.
He is down
except the Zora area.
Yeah.
He's down the Zora checks. Yeah, and Hitaka can do the same thing JP did, which is do the back first. Which we know is not going to work out, but still a call I like. Hammer Peg's so slow and unsatisfying when you can't run.
Man, the worst feeling is when you have the hammer and the boots, but you don't have a sword, so that the hammer.
Oh yeah, you can run and you can hammer, but you can't hammer dash because no sword. JP not even bothering with that heart container. He's got 13 of them, so I'm pretty certain he's okay. Taka doesn't have the ice rod to do this, but he's also got a tempered sword that JP didn't have, so he should still have a pretty easy fight. Yeah, unfortunately a 4-round, which, tempered sword isn't terrible, but not as good as the 2-round that JP had earlier with the ice rod. So Hitaka can go check that big chest and do the checkerboard, and then he'll have to make a decision on what to do next. And we'll see if JP also does the Pyramid Fairy. That'll even things out pretty nicely between the two of them.
Yeah, I would think Pyramid Fairy is going to be more appealing than either of those Pendant Dungeon dips. So.
Yeah.
And that would actually let JP go ahead and loop in Catfish. Again, you're never really close to Catfish, but there aren't good times to go to Catfish, just slightly less bad times.
Yeah.
And being
I like that. It's
a
very good way of putting it. Less bad places. Okay, we're gonna get a new check on JP's side here in just a second. So one of the things I often like to point out, though, is when you have that purple chest, if you don't have the boots, it's almost nice that you don't have to worry about, the fact that you can't run or you have to leave it behind. Okay, gets a gold sword. That's nice. It's not what he's looking for. And the 2 bosses, we get the biggest advantage of it, not in play here. Okay, Hitaka gonna do the Zora checks. No, he's gonna go straight to Ice Palace.
Interesting.
Well, he doesn't know. There's nothing over at Zora, but we know, so this is gonna work out well for him. He might do him afterwards.
Yeah, and this is another play that you definitely would not have seen pre-Icebreaker. But now Ice Palace just being that much faster that it sometimes feels better to do this before the overworld checks.
Yeah, Ice Palace, in a full clear situation is so much faster with the Icebreaker. It really isn't that big a difference in a go boat situation, but in a full clear situation, you're talking minutes instead of 15 seconds for the top players going between Icebreaker and not Icebreaker. Not a good start, though. Just getting those bombs. And yeah, JP is going to go ahead and do the big bomb. Having a little bit of trouble with the Icebreaker here. Looks like he's not quite running into the corner there well enough. There we go. Just one of those strats that you see, kind of fetch quest mushroom. Let's go.
Well, that's something that Hitaka can do on his way up to Catfish.
It sure is. If it leads to something, he'll get ahead of he'll be able to route that in better than JP will. But with the flute, it's not a huge difference. In fact, it's not really a difference at all. More than I think about it.
Oh, there's Ether.
There's Ether. He's thinking about it. Yeah, there we go. There's that mirror.
Yeah, it was all 3 items because we had the bombs, and then that Ether. So
yep.
He's give up on green.
No, I think that's the right call. I think you absolutely go and do the Ether. Go ahead, do Mire, and then if you have to go back into Ice Palace, you have to go back into Ice Palace. You hope to find your Fire Rod here. Looks like JP maybe can do the north route. He hasn't done Bumper Ledge. He hasn't done Graveyard Ledge, so he might be taking that into Catfish. All good choices on his part. And we haven't seen Catfish, could be the answer.
JP is a braver man than I when it comes to checking that Bumper Ledge. I would be real nervous to have left an item I could look at just sitting there for that long.
Oh yeah, me too. Especially having the cape. Now, less so with the Graveyard Ledge. This is another annoying check that no one wants to do. So I don't blame anybody for leaving this one for long. Ideally, it's one of those things that ideally you'd like to route it in with Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb. But no boots means not doing that.
Of course, 2 items over in Misery Mire that Hitaka is hoping Fire Rod is one of those.
But of course, Misery Mire has 3 small keys in chests, and of course, the very first thing we check is a small key. 3 small keys that we actually don't need any of.
And slightly delayed big key over there for Hitaka, I think, is good news for him, because either way, you were going to have to clear a lot of this dungeon.
Yep.
So it reduces the potential time save of maybe JP go moding it.
Yeah, exactly. Mire is one of those dungeons that can be very, very fast in go mode if it's got the so-called God Mire set up with the big key in one of those first checks. Or it can be extremely slow in go mode because you're going to last location that big key, probably in the cutscene chest, but could be in some of the other chests as well. Silvers is nice. It's not what we're looking for. Actually, Silvers is really nice to get right here, right now. Because, yeah, you're about to do the Vidi fight, and Silvers makes a huge difference there.
Once again, I have to compliment JP's routing. Did catfish and then mirrored immediately to that whirlpool back in front of us.
Yeah, very good call.
So very nice in those together.
There's the big key. So Hitaka gonna hope that the other items on the big chest, and we'll see if he's gutsy enough to skip the cutscene chest if it's not here. It is not in the big chest. It looks like he is gonna go ahead and skip that cutscene chest. He hopes that the item's on the boss.
Yeah, I think the Desert Palace do the boss first is sort of clearly the correct play. In Mire, it's a little bit more on the fence, but definitely a pretty common play for people to do this and put off that cutscene as long as possible. Yeah, and he might not even go back for it, which is another gutsy call. But you know, it's a slow check, so if it's a huge time save if it's not the right answer, and could be very costly if it is. Oh, yeah, T-Stew in chat make a very good point. The only way there's one key remaining, and the only way a key can be in one of the left side chests is if the other item is the big key. And so it's definitely an item on cutscene. And a lot of people don't think that way. It's a very, everybody knows that if that compass chest is a small key, everybody knows that the cutscene chest will be a big key, so it'll be a vanilla big key. But a lot of people forget that other little subtle detail. And that's what I'm remiss, and I sometimes will forget that as well. So yeah, thank you to T-Stew there. JP is going to go ahead and take on Cold Stare.
Yeah, he's going to go get that green pendant. If this, and again, we're getting to the point where what I like to call a lot of craptastic checks. And one of them's going to be the answer, and we don't know which one. Green pendant definitely falls into that category. As does going back in for the cutscene, as does going to Turtle Rock, as does going to Catfish, which JP's already done. Let's see if Hitaka goes back in. Yeah, he's not going to go back in. Okay, so where to next? This could be... okay, he's going to do Zora next, it looks like. Which means he's going to pretty much abandon Catfish. If that's the case. Unfortunately, Zora's not going to be the answer. We know that much.
Yeah, Hitaka has definitely shown a willingness to gamble. Went to Aga a little bit early, which is a small gamble. There were a lot of signs pointing toward it, but it's been working out for him generally pretty well so far.
The nice thing about doing Zora here is if the answer turns out to be in Turtle Rock, he does have that Ice Rod to do to finish up. Actually, never mind. He will not have to fight Helmasaur because we're looking for a Fire Rod. So forget I even mentioned the Ice Rod. We're going to get a moment of truth here as JP checks the green pendant. And just 300 rupees for his trouble. So what do we have left besides Turtle Rock?
We got
mushroom?
the chest. We got the mushroom.
Chest and the mushroom. Yeah, we're going to see the mushroom right now. And we'll see if Hitaka does that too. He hasn't done that yet. He also hasn't done the shovel. And this has got to be one or both of those. Okay, this will be the mushroom because you don't flute to the shovel. We know the shovel's not the answer.
Gosh, book opens up.
Oh, that's so gross. That's the worst. Oh, okay. Hitaka's gonna do hobo first. We also know this is not the answer. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, okay. Not too surprised to see JP just going straight to Meyer now.
Yeah, no, I think this is the right call for him.
Yeah, better than those craptastic checks that you were discussing before.
Well, one of them's right here in Misery Mire, and he might realize that there's an item there ahead of time, or just might not be. Or I mean, Hitaka might have realized it was an item, just didn't want to take the time to check it. If the fire rod's there, then that's a big moment for JP.
It's worth noting also that if the layout is just right, the fire rod can be as deep as Laser Bridge in Turtle Rock.
Absolutely can be. But you know what? If it's in Turtle Rock, it doesn't matter, just as long as you get it. And that's looks like Hitaka's going to head there next. You might do Spike Cave first. I kind of like the idea of doing Spike Cave first, but we'll see what he does. And Hitaka's teammate Azure, and of course all the players on Shack Tools Deacon Game are all very accomplished SMZ3 players. So they play the combo randomizer. And yeah, checking that, in SMZ3, the very first item you check in the game is you go into the Link to the Past and you jumped off the bridge and you see what the item on Lake Hylia Island is. And so, yeah, the typical late SMZ3 player check of the Lake Hylia item. Lake Hylia Island item. Gosh, I can't say that.
We might need to get this team checked out, because I think anyone who's actually good at Super Metroid is a robot. There's no other explanation.
Well, I consider myself passable at it. Does that make me not a robot?
Probably. Okay.
I think Willard, who's one of JP's teammates, has been known to play the occasional SMZ3, but I won't vouch for his Super Metroid talents. I really have never seen him play it, so. Okay, JP gets his silvers. Let's see if he goes. No, he's also going to skip the cutscene for now. I do like that routing. I'm a big fan of, if you're going to do the cutscene, do it last if you can manage it. Because the nice thing is, if you do the cutscene last, you go right into Vitreous from there very easily. Okay, are we going to get a small key, or are we going to go down a rabbit hole? Or maybe the fire rod's just right here. We're going to go down a rabbit hole. Let's see how deep that rabbit hole takes us.
Yeah, stringing us along for a little bit longer.
Okay, the next spot where we can be going down a rabbit hole or not. And we're continuing.
So this gets us 2 more checks. We've got Lava Chest and Mimic Cave that we're guaranteed to be able to check out.
It looks like JP is going to go ahead and check that cutscene, so we're going to know in just a second whether Hitaka made a big mistake by not going there. It is kind of interesting. For the most part, I'd say JP's been more thorough, but in a few places he has, well, at least he's tried to cut corners. Feeling behind from the late Aga play. Okay, we got one more check. And then Spike Cave. And this check the JP is doing right now.
Yep, and then our tablets, I guess, that we've opened
Oh, right,
up.
because we have a book now. Well, JP has a book. Wait, where was that book? Was that at the dig spot? Okay, I didn't see what JP got, but it did not look like a fire rod.
Yeah, I think that was arrows there in the cutscene chest, so...
Definitely not what he's looking for.
Mimic Cave, the last hope here on Hitaka's side.
Yeah, and then, like I said, Spike Cave. I imagine he would do that next. I think that may be all we... Yeah, that and... No, JP checked shovel, so it's not there. You see the mushroom, it's not there. It's just rupees. Spike Cave? Oh yeah, the book stuff. Where was... No, the shovel was gold sword.
Yeah, the book was on the mushroom turn-in.
Okay, Hitaka hasn't turned in the mushroom yet. Well, this is probably going to take him right back up to the mountain, because then that gives him 2 checks there. Because it's got he'll have the ether tablet and he'll have the Spike Cave. You gotta walk away. You gotta walk away and then come back.
At least with the book, getting 2 craptastic checks at once is better than just
one.
Yeah,
exactly. It really is. Late book is, I talked about the late mirror earlier, but the late book is kind of nasty as well. And again, JP, as Hitaka did before, showing us why silver arrows are so great on Vitreous. And all we need that fire rod for is Skullwoods. And it's like, can't we just use the lamp to light the thing on fire?
Maybe
like,
bombos.
why can't we? Or bombos, yeah,
Tale of 2 tablets. JP is headed toward bombos. Hitaka is on ether.
It's not ether. And we're gonna check Spike Cave.
Man, what a ludicrous seed this has been.
Yeah.
And pretty much down to a coin flip here.
Yep.
As our the last 2 checks that we, the audience, don't know about yet.
And there it is in Spike Cave. And
the boots on the side.
Wow, that's the one item that JP could have gotten that could make a difference.
That's gonna lead him over to these boot checks. He's gonna do bonk run.
Well, the good news is for
rough.
JP, he's gonna be able to move faster. The bad news is, not only does he do these bonk checks first, he might do Turtle Rock first before he does Spike Cave. And Hitaka getting very badly dead rock there. Oh, and JP never even checked Lumberjack. I believe this was arrows or something. Maybe a piece of heart. I forget. It's definitely one of those forgettable items that he's not going to want to get. I totally forgot that they had this because they did kill that. Yeah, it's 10 arrows.
I do have to say, though, this does give JP a 1 in 22 chance of getting right.
Yes, it does.
Tower.
Yeah, it sure does. sees bombs on Bonkross, gonna head over to King's Tomb. And if you get those, this is exactly what he should do. Unfortunately, it's not gonna lead him to the right answer. But yeah, he does have a few outs. I mean, just the fact that he has the boots. If he does do Spike Cave before Turtle Rock, he might be able to catch up with those boots a little bit. Might be able to catch up a lot. The other thing is, and like you said, the thing that would be best for him is that big key sitting there on the torch in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, we'll see which way JP goes here. Up the mountain.
Oh, looks like he's gonna do Ether Tablet into Spike Cave, so that's good for him.
Yeah, he might still do Ether across to Turtle Rock, though.
Ooh, yeah, he could. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it totally makes sense to do Ether first, because that book didn't... I mean, got him boots, which is nice. Extremely nice, in fact, but it's not really what he's looking for. Hitaka does need to get this key here, and needs to be a little more careful, although I do believe he's got a couple of red bottles and maybe a fairy in his pocket. Or maybe just a red... He's got stuff in his bottles, I guess is the point. Oh, and you're right. Oh, this is unfortunate for JP. I was hoping he would go to that Spike Cave. But unfortunately, gonna do Turtle Rock. It's probably the play I would have made. How often... Pendant Turtle Rock. Not unusual, not unknown for having stuff. And unfortunately, with the key layout, it's going to take him down that rabbit hole that Hitaka's already gone through. This is a classic case, and we've seen... Oh, I guess we should talk about these numbers first. Why are all these numbers? Tell me, cool Papa Bell, why are all these numbers showing up in chat?
Well, there's this guessing game that we like to play. Since there are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower basement where the big key might be, we will keep track of the order in which Hitaka checks those and see how many checks it takes him to find that big key. So putting that number between 1 and 22.
And as I always like to say, if you want to put in a strange number, go right ahead. It just won't win.
You're missing out on your free fake internet points.
Yeah, there you go. And we still have that possibility, that big out for JP. I think it's his only out now. If he'd gone straight to Spike Cave after Ether Tablet, then I think he would have had a reasonable chance to catch up. Now it really has to be that big key on the torch. 1 in 22, slightly less than 5%. And for those of you that are wondering, the way the randomizer logic is done, the keys are placed first. In fact, I believe the big keys are placed first before even the small keys are placed. And so it literally is 1 in 22. There's no changing based on what else is in what chests. But yeah, I was starting to say this when we started the big key guessing game. This is a classic case of JP just being a little bit more thorough, and if any one of those thorough checks had paid off, this would be a completely different match. And we see that sometimes. Thorough versus cutting corners, and sometimes the cutting corners is the answer, sometimes the thoroughness is the answer. It's randomizer, you can never be sure. I know for myself personally, I get the most upset if I don't play my style and I lose, whichever that style. My style is more the take the risks, and I get more upset when I lose because I didn't take those risks than I do if I lose because I did.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It's a lot easier to be like, I didn't go back for the Stevestown big chest with hammer or something like that.
Yep.
It's gonna happen sometimes.
Okay, JP heading over to Mimic Cave, gonna be disappointed. Hitaka about to find out it is a small key on the torch, which, by the way, means those boots are logically required, but not actually required. So that would be 3 we've checked so far.
So 4 through 7 here in Dark Magician's room, and number 4 is our winner.
And Hitaka says, you know what, I've got silvers, I'm not going to bother to check anything else. He could have checked and see if he could get another small key in case, so that he doesn't have to grab the one in the mini Helma, but really there's no point. At this point, the only thing he doesn't have is that gold sword. Now, he doesn't know where it is. We know where it is. It's sitting there in the dig spot. And congratulations to Jonathan Skyfell for winning the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game for guessing 4 and getting 24 points. So JP going to check. I believe this is a literal last location for him. I think he's checked everything. And I've been there and I've done that, and there's no better way to say it but to say it sucks. But everybody that's played Randomizer has been exactly where JP is at right now.
Yeah, I was going to say my specialty is doing something that I think is the last location and then remembering something else that I forgot to get. Like 3
yeah,
times
I've done
in a row.
that too. Yeah, I guess that's even worse. But yeah, yeah, I've certainly had my share of those too.
Oh, and JP just dies on the edge. Oh, has a fairy in a bottle. Okay.
Oh, and he's fine. He's fine. That's not a problem.
Still feels bad, but not quite as bad.
Well, I've often been one to say that those fairies for me are much more likely to mess up a death warp than they are to save me. But you know what? Every once in a while.
So Hitaka
Chat pointing out he would have gone straight back. And JP showing some really good knowledge, bonking that tree for magic refill that he's going to need to get through Skullwoods. So yeah, it would have been a time loss, but you know, Spike Cave, you know, I said it earlier. I mean, when they had the choice between Spike Cave and Spiral Cave, you do Spiral Cave first because it's just so much easier to get back to Spike Cave later. And yeah, if either one of them had routed Spike Cave in at the same time, again, we could be talking about a different situation here. But with the items they had at the time they went up there, it's very difficult to route them both in.
Yeah, it's just so hard not to isolate Spike Cave. Mm-hmm. Because either there's a bunch of other stuff that you'd rather do, or you can't actually do it yet when you're on the mountain. So.
Yep. Yeah, because like my ideal thing is to do it when you do Tower of Hera. Well, they didn't have the means to get over. To do Spiral Cave, but when I do Tower of Hera and the other Light World checks, and then when you do the Dark World checks, it's very easy to route Spike Cave in. But when both runners they did Tower of Hera. For nothing but a crystal. They did not have access to the east side of the mountain. Taka does have to grab this key, and probably very glad he has powder right now, since he's right now on only 4 hearts. Red mail makes it a little bit nicer, and I think he's still got some. Like I said, he's got stuff in bottles still, but it's nice not to have to use them. Okay, JP making quick work of Mothula. With Gold Sword or Tempered Sword, that's not well, I shouldn't say not too difficult, but every once in a while, even with those better swords, Moth can cause trouble and just sit in those spikes and not take damage because of the way the programmers created Mothula with the hey, let's make it so he doesn't take damage if he hits a spike, and the spike damage overrides your sword damage. Alright, JP now has his 7th crystal. He'll head up to the mountain. Could save a little bit of time if he goes straight to the right side. Sorry, straight to the left side. But, you know, he's an entire Ganon's Tower behind. And a nice double from Hitaka to start off Aga 2. But then doesn't get anything.
That was a pretty nice double there to finish that off with not an easy spot for Aga 2. So Hitaka just has this Ganon fight. Tempered Silvers probably will not be too difficult.
Nope, this should be, yeah. Tempered Silvers is pretty standard. For the top players, the difference between a Tempered Sword and a Gold Sword is none. I should say the top players when they do things right. I mean, even the top players mess things up occasionally. But even if you can't get the 1-in-1, still can do this pretty quickly. Meanwhile, JP can go ahead and enter Ganon's tower.
And that's a tricky spot to get through that phase 2 in one cycle, but Hitaka making really good use of the cape.
Yeah, with Silver Arrows, he'll have to watch out for his magic a little bit, potentially, but he should be fine with that. He did throw the bottle into the Pyramid Fairy, but I believe that was a red potion. Yeah, in fact, he's gonna go ahead and conserve that magic with that lamp, and that fire bat was awfully close. Ooh, that's yeah, he's gonna need to get this here. Gets a double. There we go. Yeah, very low on magic. That was a little scary low on magic.
Yeah, hard to tell if he would have had 2 more lamp uses or not, but either way, gets through this Ganon fight, and get your GGs in chat for Hitaka.
Hitaka finishing up with an official race time of 1:41.28. Meanwhile, we have JP about to hit the gauntlet over in Ganon's tower. Yeah, and you know, considering all the extra stuff he did, not that far behind. Just you know, like I said, sometimes you know the thorough player is the one that pays off, and some thoroughness is what pays off, and sometimes skipping stuff pays off. You know, I get a little annoyed at when people call it a gamble when you skip something, because it's just as much a gamble to check it. But sometimes sometimes it works better if you check it. Sometimes it works better if you don't. And it sounds like we have joining us Hitaka. GG's.
Thanks.
So yeah, we were just talking about like the big difference is JP was just a little more thorough than you were. There were a lot of places where if an item had shown up where he checked and you didn't, would have been a different game. But that's not what happened.
Yeah, late in the game, I was abandoning some slow one-offs like Meyer cutscene chest,
Yep.
green pendant on cold stare, catfish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah. The one thing that JP found that you didn't, boots were sitting on Bombo's tablet. Not needed, but it would have been nice, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean boots were always nice, but
well, it's a kind of a catch-22 for JP because it did give him the faster speed, but also opened up the 2 extra checks for him.
yeah, those don't take that long with mitts though, so that's not really a huge.
I should say 3 extra checks. He had never checked lumberjack, so he did all 3. He did a blind lumberjack check. You don't see that very often, but
Yeah, so
made sense in his situation.
fun Agassiz. And
Yeah.
2 pen and dungeon required dips.
Yep.
Although
Yeah, you want to talk about what went into your thinking to do Aga as early as you did?
well, once I found the cape, I knew that was Aga and Launch, and given us like exactly the stuff needed to do that, but not really anything else. So after Aga, the only thing that would be available is Pod plus Catfish.
Yep.
So sometimes you expect to get like a Shutter Hammer or something first, but so I did a few extra checks, like I did a E9 dump.
Yep.
Saha's closet and front of escape, and then I figured it's pretty likely that it's Aga at this point, so I was going to do it.
Yeah, I pretty much assumed that once you had made the play into front of escape, that was going to be the last thing you did.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people like to do. Do that front of escape and then go straight into Aga from there.
Yeah, I didn't want to do Eastern at that point because, like, if I did Aga and it turned out that there was something in Eastern that I needed, I would have just wound up dipping pot and then mirroring Eastern anyway.
Sure. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, JP did all the light world checks. Really wanted to avoid that Aga play. Now, did you guys have an Aga seed in your match in the regular season? I'm trying to remember. Azure mentioned it in chat, and I can't remember. I called the match. I don't remember.
I did have an Aga seed. I think it might have been that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And JP about to go into his Ganon fight.
JP, of course, having that gold sword from the flute spot. So
yeah, this will be no problem for him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what Shovel was. Yeah, that was another one I abandoned because it was like pretty slow to get back to by the time I got Shovel.
Yeah.
Without boots, like to run there quickly, there's not really any good way to check that. You just have to go to Link's house and slog over there. Yeah,
unfortunately for JP, that fire rod was literally his last location. I mean, that spike cave is one of those things. It's just so hard to route both that and spiral cave in when you're up on the mountain, and you're doing both light world and dark world stuff, and you're not doing Tower of Hera. And
Yeah,
both of you chose Spiral Cave, which, I think makes sense, because it's so much easier to get back to Spike Cave later, but... and he got a sword out of it, so it wasn't like it was a complete waste of time, but yeah, Spike Cave was a little bit more necessary.
Yeah, the way this worked out with an early Hera, and then Mitts before Hookshot, meaning that you're gonna do Light and Dark Death Mountain in one trip, and so you're gonna pick between Spiral or Spike Cave. And you're pretty much always gonna pick Spiral Cave in that situation.
Yeah, I totally agree. And in fact, I've seen it bite people to do it the other way around, because it's just, at some point you just say, well, I just got to go do Spike Cave. You go to the save quit spot or Flute, and you're just there. And Spiral Cave is so much harder to get back to.
And actually, I don't think I even thought about Spike Cave because, like, I wrote it off because no hammer, and then hammer was in Hookshot Cave, and, like, it didn't register that I could do Spike Cave then until gone.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that, because sometimes, that happens. Like, early on, I thought maybe one option you had, and it wouldn't have made a huge difference, is you got bombs in that first chest, and you got glove at Uncle. You could have done the back of escape right away, which you don't see very often. So, and then you didn't do that, which it didn't matter. I mean, you got there eventually, and I forget what even was there.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Half the time when I get glove, like, I don't do back of escape immediately. I don't know why. It just slips my mind for like a few minutes.
Yeah, and shout out JP finishing with an official race time of 1:47.15. GG's to JP.
And we have got JP getting set up to join us here in chat as well.
Excellent.
But this will bring Shack Tool's digging game even in this series, 1-1 between the two teams.
Honestly, as it should be between these two teams. You got two really good teams playing each other.
Yeah, tied in the regular season as well.
And GG's JP, full clear. We've all done it. We've all been there.
Yeah, I knew if I full cleared this, I wasn't gonna have much of a chance because I think Hitaka is better at execution than I am. But not much I can do about that. That's not much you can do about a seed like that, really.
Yep. I mean, we were just talking about Spike Cave versus Spiral Cave, and Hitaka allowed us how he wasn't even thinking about Spike Cave until he got the hammer, and then by the time he realized it, he'd already done Spiral, and it was out. Did you have a similar situation up on the mountain?
I did think about Spike Cave at that point too. I'm like, I could go do this, but I kind of had the similar thoughts, like, it's tougher to get back to Spiral Cave.
Yep. That's what I always say.
I just decided to do Spiral. And even thinking about it after the race, I'm like, doing Spike Cave earlier might have actually been worse for me. As weird as it sounds, because there is a good chance in that situation that I'm doing Turtle Rock before Ice Palace.
Sure. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And Ice Palace was the answer for Ether.
Yeah. And, well, yeah, technically the book was... But you got booked through it, which led to Boots, which didn't do anything, so...
You got to go a little faster.
I did get to go a little faster. I was when I was going to GT with those boots, I'm like, okay, come on, give me the 1 in 22.
Yeah, I know. That's what you need to be hoping for.
Yeah.
And it does happen every once in a while, but unfortunately, not this time for you.
Yeah.
Also, if I can interrupt for a second, Happy New Year on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, good point.
See
Yeah,
you
Happy
in
New Year to all you East Coasters out there,
Good
and to
riddance,
anybody
2020.
east of the East Coast. Yeah, good riddance. 2020 is right. I still have another hour left, so.
I was actually remarking about this at least one place. Like, for some people, this is the last race of 2020. For others, this is actually the first race of 2021.
Yeah, there you go. I'm assuming, based on your name, JP, you're also Central Time Zone, so you're still still stuck in 2020 with me.
I'm still in 2020.
Just for a little while longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were also, as you were coming in, talking about, between these two teams, two really good teams, and to have this end in a 3-game sweep just wouldn't have been right on either direction. So definitely looking forward to, we'll at least get a game 4, maybe even a game 5.
Yeah, both my games against Hitaka, even though he won both of them, they were both close games.
Yep.
I think they both came down to Go Mode Fire Rod as well.
You remember better than I do, and I called that game, so...
They were both Aga seeds too, right?
I don't remember if they're both Aga seeds, but it wouldn't surprise me. That's the other thing. I waited on Aga until it was like my last location, but it made sense to me because, like, usually when you have an Aga seed and like you're expected to go through Aga to get to Dark World access, you have something else like a bow or a hook shot or something.
Yep.
And that's kind of why I put it off till last, because I'm like, I have like my options are basically to dive a pendant pod that could be bow locked.
Yep.
Or go to catfish.
Yep.
So
pretty bad choices. And even if you'd found a bow or a hook shot in one of those locations, that would have been super good, even if it wasn't the hammer or the other glove.
Yeah. So this seed, like I said, it's a full clear. It is what it is. Like you can't. Sometimes you just get those seeds, and I played my best. I gave it my best shot. You
played just fine, and very nice on the Landmo fight with the ice rod.
Oh, thanks.
I find the ice rod really hard to deal with instead of the fire rod. So always nice to see a good job done there.
Ice rod takes some timing for that one.
Yeah. I wasn't actually my last location. I did have Helmasaur left. I never.
Yes. Oh, right. Yeah, Helmasaur. Totally forgot about that. But we figured both you would last location Helmasaur. So
yeah, I was not going back. I was tempted to go back a little earlier, but I actually was tempted to go right back after Bombos when I got boots, and that sent me the other direction. So, yeah, that would have been my absolute last location. There was an item on Helmasaur. So
yeah. All right. So moving forward, we have Game 3 coming up on Saturday between Azure and Willard, and I laugh at the settings because they didn't choose the bad settings; they chose good settings.
Yeah, Willard. I think both of them wanted like a nicer race because I forget who chose what. I know one of them chose a shard.
Yeah, so Azure chose a Shard Sword, if I believe, and then Willard, I believe, chose Fast Cannon, which is nice.
Yep, he did.
And then Azure chose
Standard, I believe.
Standard, not Standard.
Noki
Sandy. I don't want to use the word Standard because that means something else.
Yeah.
So Noki Sandy, and then the Saha bot goes and rolls Inverted and Randomizer. And for those of you that maybe don't know, Inverted and Vanilla Swords. No, I said it's short, sorry. It's Vanilla Swords. For those of you that don't know, Vanilla Swords in Inverted means you don't get swords till you get to the Light World. So.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's definitely gonna be an interesting one.
It would take some really weird combinations to get a sword before Light World.
Yeah, I guess if you're Pen and Dungeons, no wait, it'd have to be
you had
Pyramid Fairy. If you get your 2 red crystals, yeah.
2 red crystals in Dark Worlds. You could technically, but that would be a really weird situation.
Yeah, and then you're probably doing I was gonna say Hammer Blind, but it's Randomizer, so you're doing some other boss in
Oh yeah.
He's down. So, I know if I'd be a better you than me if I were on the team, so on either team. So I don't know about you, JP.
I'm okay
And
with
Hitaka.
Randomizer, but yeah.
That should be a fun one.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
But yeah, GG's to both of you, and if there's anything you'd like to add before we start closing things out.
Yeah, GG again, Hitaka. Thanks to everyone for commentary and restream, and yeah, we'll see how the rest of the series goes.
Yeah,
Yep.
GG, and good luck to both runners on the next race.
Yep.
All right, thanks, guys. And if you're not already following them, I will go ahead and put their... Yeah, it's even correct. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and hit those links and go ahead and follow both these runners, both very accomplished runners and good follows. And yeah, not a whole lot going on this. Well, there is stuff on the schedule, but it's kind of spread out. And I guess I'll go ahead and look at the. We'll go ahead and look at the open schedule as well. I have not looked at that. So right now on the schedule, we have Saturday night at 6:10, the aforementioned Shackles Digging Game versus WJP DTB, Astor versus Willer J. Bradley. That should be a good one between two very good runners. And we already talked about the settings. That'll be, like I said, Saturday at 6:10 p.m. all times Eastern. Sunday on January 3rd. All these in the new year, because for those of us that are not there yet. 3:10 p.m. we have the Titans 2019 Titans Mids of 2019 versus Era 216. Sailor Net versus Thalane. I don't believe they've got settings for that yet. I believe that's a game 4. 10:10 p.m. on the same day, on Sunday, January 3rd. We have the Fendrana Drifters versus Team Kappa. Jet versus Gamachu. That should be a really good one. I believe that's a game 3. And then on Monday night at 9:10, Team Kappa versus Fendrana Drifters. 1-Up versus Megawatt. And that might be the because I believe Fendrana is up 2-0, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, that's what's on the schedule. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Open League schedule, see what's going on there. Because, we're in the playoffs. They absolutely deserve some love. And 4 of those teams are going to move into the Invitational next season. So definitely want to see what's going on there. And we do have races tomorrow. Unfortunately, they're both at the same time, and neither one has got a channel yet. But keep an eye out for Friday at 2:10. We have Upsdawa War S Outnicked versus Amish Paradise, which is essentially oops, it's not there either. Ramon versus Radical Sniper 99. That should be a good one. And for some reason, their teammates are playing at exactly the same time. We have Rail and Tanker versus Zero Nix. Also at 2:10. On Saturday, we have at 1:10 Black Lotus versus OK Game, Shippu versus Wired Wiki. And also on Saturday at 4:10 p.m., we have OK Game versus Black Lotus, Krell Bell versus Top Life. And then at 8:10 p.m., also on Saturday, we have Boomer Friendly versus New Hyrule Order. That's Scrub Casual versus CJ. So a whole lot of Links to the Past still coming your way. Please do tune into all those matches, or as many as you can. Obviously, you might have to do a little multi-twitching for Friday at 2:10, but definitely a lot more to come. But that's going to do it for us. I'd like to thank Cool Papa Bell for joining me. On the tracking, we had Bandman25 doing the great job behind the scenes, as always, doing the hard work. Absolutely need to shout out those trackers. Can't shout them out enough. And, of course, everybody behind the scenes at SpeedGaming and in the league. And I'll let you close us out.
Absolutely. I had fun as always. Thank you for letting me come along for the ride. And thanks, everybody out there, for watching. Be sure to stay tuned to Speed Gaming for more great rando and other speed gaming action. And thank you all. Have a great night and a Happy New Year.